Welcome to the Pro Cheerleading Podcast. We're trying to act like we have our shit together, but in actuality,
to be honest, hopefully you guys are sipping on something at home on this wonderful Tuesday evening.
Hopefully you've recovered from your Halloween weekend festivities, which may have occurred. We tried to get our swerve on, okay, and it just did not come together.
Did not.
Our girls were completely burnt out from
Jasmine's
Leavenworth.
on. Sorry.
Jasmine! Oh, shoot. Hi, sweetheart. Okay. P.S. We do want to talk to you about your whole transition from Washington, D.C. to Atlanta and how you have, managed the whole, auditioning in another city and moving and not knowing your whole life story until it all plays out. We need
She's
to talk.
killing it, though.
We need to talk. And they danced with Oscar Hernandez. Did you see?
I did see that.
Oh my gosh,
we need to hear about that too.
So Jasmine, clear it with your director. We're gonna need to talk to you.
Yep.
Okay. So we tried to kick it over the weekend and we did not make it.
Because we're going hard this Thursday.
This Thursday, you guys, marks the official 1-year celebration of the podcast, and Brittany and I have committed to getting our lives together for some Halloween festivities. Brittany, did you tell them your costume? Tell them again.
Did I say? I already said.
No, whatever. But tell it again. Say it again.
It's going to be Cardi B from the twerk video with
a Bengal booty.
Yeah, Bengal booty.
Is it a Bengal booty?
But is it Miami Girls? Or what's it called? Who are they called? City Girls.
City Girls twerk.
Miami.
There's a twerk situation. You guys, I look pregnant because I have a whole blanket, but it's fall and it's cold and whatever. Let's just bundle up. All right, so, but it's City Girls, Cardi, right? It's the twerk video, and she's dressed like a little Bengal, and she's all decked out.
Oh, is it a Bengal?
I don't know what the hell that was. It was some animal that's orange
a
and black.
tiger.
Bengal tiger. Bengalese
tiger?
tiger?
Yeah, that's the same thing.
An animal, okay?
An animal. You should be the, black and white panther one.
I cannot.
Bodysuit.
You guys, I'm having, I'm getting self-conscious about my dream vision of my coming to America moment. I have the dress, I got the train, I got the
hair,
all these things, the hair, and I'm just scared because I don't have a Prince Hakeem who's gonna have the lion on his shoulder where people are not gonna know who I am, and the whole night after all this whole to do that nobody's gonna know who I am. And so I'm maybe I should just dress up as what people call Big Bird, but it's my yellow Brazilian samba dancer outfit. And I swear, okay, maybe somebody knows. There was a video by Nicki Minaj, I believe, where it's an upbeat song and it's not even Caribbean vibes, but she's in the video walking the streets of the Caribbean with a carnival dancers, and she's dressed up like one and with some tennis shoes on, as a matter of fact. And I just feel maybe you should just be Cardi B and I should be Nicki Minaj.
Maybe. They don't like each other though. And we love each other.
But we're going to be fighting for that freaking Halloween costume.
Are they even having one? We need to confirm that, actually.
Don't we want that money, though?
Yeah.
I feel if you go all out in this Bengal costume with your hair and the whole nine and all the paint and shit, you should win something. And if I do the whole, whether it's the yellow Big Bird outfit or the Queen to Be outfit from Coming to America, I better win some contests. That's how I'm feeling.
We'll have to do,
I'll kick someone's ass so we can win. Anyway,
we're going to win. We'll keep you posted on that.
I'm trying to get it together, but we are going to celebrate regardless because it is our actual official anniversary. We have the Cheerversary party coming up on Saturday. Yay. And we're super excited. Well, actually, okay, we're excited, but also having diarrhea, nervous. Mm-hmm. Should we be real about it? Truth behind the palms. Okay, here's the deal, guys.
Who's coming?
When you host a party, you start to worry oh my God, nobody's going to show up. And for us, it's not even just nobody show up in person, right, in Seattle, Washington, but also virtually. So this is a first, but we want people to show up online because our listeners are everywhere. They're all over the world, literally. And we want people to tune in. We have no idea what time zone people are in, what they're doing on a Saturday. But the idea is please show up because it's nerve-wracking to think that you're trying to make sure you have enough food and drink and this and this and that, and it's just going to be fun. Honestly, we just want to have fun because it'll take away the nerves. And so it won't be something, even if it's just the two of us, though. We already had our little powwow over a drink
Yeah, we did. But we don't know what we're doing, so that's key. So kind of like with this whole podcast, we're really like
faking it until we make it, man.
We don't know what we're doing it.
we don't know what we're doing, but we're gonna figure it out. The point is, it's gonna be us just talking shit. We're gonna get cute a little bit. Don't get your hopes up. It's gonna be like pumping up for the party, but just celebrating how far we've come, because we know between the two of us like how amazing this journey has been. How we just didn't know what we were getting into, and it's turned into something crazy and exciting, and we're really super proud of it. So even if it's just the two of us, Brittany, we're gonna toast it up.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we are.
Let's toast it up now.
Let's do it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
What are we
us.
sipping on?
What is this drink called? It's like Bang.
It's the Bang energy drink and vodka. Yay.
So I could be up all night editing. Okay, let's talk. Can we talk about what our episode is?
Yeah, it's actually a really serious topic.
I know. Why are we drinking?
Because it's so serious.
Ooh, you made that strong.
Did I?
It's okay.
Sorry.
Can handle it. I'm grown. No, but okay, let's do it. Because I think we needed to kind of like woosah off of the edge, because this is a very serious topic. We wanted to make sure that, when talking about this, that we were trying to be mindful of how serious the topic is, how much people really struggle with it. And we weren't exactly, between the two of us, equipped with, all that goes into it. Like, we definitely had our share of stress, definitely had our share of like what we call seagull anxiety, like around the experience of just managing it all, having your shit together 24/7, having your look together 24/7. And we see the lasting effects of what sticks with you after this experience is over. And we just wanted to try to talk about it in a way that was responsible. But then we came across a wonderful woman that some of you may have heard about, some of you may not have. But we interviewed Kristan Ware, who, Kristan Ann Ware, which is easier to say Kristan Ware. She was a former cheerleader for the Miami Dolphins. And if you don't know, she sued them for religious discrimination. And just, you'll hear all about our experience in this episode, but what we really wanted to...
I was just going to say, it's kind of coming full circle, because we actually, Makiba came up with the idea of even starting the podcast based on what was happening to her and a few others who decided to, file lawsuits against their team and fight against it. And it's just funny, because you'll hear it in the interview that we were like scared to reach out to her when we first started the podcast, and she was like, you could have reached out like day one. She followed us pretty early on too when we started the podcast.
True, she did.
So she's always been in the back of our mind, but yeah, we kind of felt nervous to even reach out to her.
Well, because I think when you think about people who sued, like I'm, as a former lawyer, I know what all goes into that. It's not a light decision that you make. It's costly, it's scary, it's so much more involved, like the litigation process of all the depositions where you're taking sworn testimony, you have to have witnesses, like there's so much that's involved in it. And I know that when it hit the press that they were doing a lot of interviews with their attorneys, and so I'm thinking there's no way they're going to do our rinky-dink ass podcast interview,
right?
You know what I mean, to like talk about their case when it's ongoing. Oftentimes when you're in the middle of litigation, you have to really be careful about the statements that you're making and how it impacts the case. So, we've been tracking it for a while, but she did inspire our Shut Up and Dance episode, where are you allowed to advocate for what you believe in? Do you have the same rights and protection as some of the players do in talking about their faith? And it was just something that we always had monitored, but to actually be able to talk to her and one-on-one and hear her story and what ended up happening to her was definitely a moment. And I have to say that, like, what we saw in the headlines
was just the tip of the iceberg, honestly.
Yeah.
And she's so well-spoken and just so generous with her time and energy, and just, she's probably told that story like 50 million times, but, you got emotional actually when we were interviewing her.
I cried.
I'm just not very emotional person, but I was crying on the inside.
Well, I mean, for me, I'm a hugger. I'm an emotional person. I'm very passionate, as y'all probably know. But I just was really just trying to be empathetic and putting myself in her shoes. And I'm like, damn, like you actually went through a lot, and I just think it really hit me, you know, not that we questioned it ever, but just it really hit me what her motivation was, like that it really was coming from a genuine place of trying to make things better. You know what I mean? Because if you're experiencing that level of just getting fucked with, let's just keep it real. You aren't the only one on a team that's getting fucked with, right? Like, let's just be clear. And I think in her, you know, not to speak on her behalf, but I just think that she was trying to fight for herself, but in a way that was also just hopefully making it better for everybody. And I think that's probably something that's so easily misunderstood from some of these women that have come forward to sue their teams, is that somehow they've like ended up on like no man's island in pro cheerleading. Like, you know, the Buffalo Jills cheerleader that sued to address the unfair employment practices, if you will, or the pay, you know, they get rid of their whole entire cheerleading program. And so maybe she caught hella heat that was not justified because people were pissy that because she spoke up, she killed the program.
Yeah. Worried that the program was going to get eliminated.
Exactly.
And it's such a fun experience, you know. So many people have such a positive experience that, you know, you're so desperately trying to hold on to that.
Yeah. Because it's not all bad. You know what I mean? It's not like you hate every minute of it just because you can still love your job and still fight for your rights because the shit's not right.
It's almost like you love it so much and you see the potential of it being better and better for yourself and better for other future people. Like, she talks about that. Like, she just discusses about, basically, she thought about the next generation to audition and thought about how she wanted them to experience it versus how she did.
Exactly.
Despite what she experienced.
Exactly.
You know?
And I mean, what we realized, I think, in talking to Kristan, it was just that, you know, it's awkward when you're interviewing someone for the first time and you're trying to be respectful of their space around, especially a sensitive topic. Like this topic, like, just to rewind, was supposed to be around mental and emotional health and well-being. And it was a post from Kristan that I probably should have printed out, that made me finally like, you know what, I'm just going to reach out to her and say, like, we should talk. Because at the end of the day, what she experienced and trying to fight for her rights with respect to whatever went down with the Miami Dolphins, I could tell it took an emotional and mental toll on her. And I wanted to talk to her in connection with this episode to just understand what that looked like, how that showed up for her. And in talking to her, I mean, she walked us through what happened and like the ins and outs of it all. But I personally kind of felt like the conversation wasn't done. So we kind of, just for the FYI, this is something that we're going to break up into 2 episodes, you know, and we, you know, Brittany couldn't join us the second time and it was fine, but we just needed to dig a little deeper, right? I mean,
just to kind of like set the scene for you guys, basically, we couldn't be together to record the first part that you're going to hear tomorrow. And Kristan and myself were sitting in our car. My car actually died on me. I mean,
did you have to do the jumper cable?
I had to jump it.
Frick.
But like our phones were dying. Like maybe Mercury was in retrograde that day. I don't know. But a lot of weird things were happening. Yeah. So the conversation was so good and juicy, and like, again, we were getting emotional and really like there with her, but like technology was dying on us, literally.
Yeah.
So yeah, Makiba kind of capped it off, and because there was so much more to uncover with her, and so on Thursday we're gonna launch the second half where basically it's just Makiba and Kristan. But yeah, I'm excited to hear.
It was something that needed to be just explored a little deeper, and I think, you know, one of the things we wanted to talk about for Cheer Chat today is a documentary that we've been tracking actually ever since we launched this podcast. They had just started, I think, their Kickstarter campaign to raise money. And I say they, like it's a fucking army.
Ooh.
Hi, everybody.
Okay. Like it was a huge effing army.
God dang it. Here we go. I mean, I shouldn't have picked my drink up when I said that. That means I should put it down. But this woman is a one-woman show. That's why I say, like, what am I even talking about? But her name is, I want to just get it right, Wee Goo, okay? I got
She's
it right.
from Vancouver, BC.
Yes, and so she, about a year ago, because it was right around the time that we started, she had launched a Kickstarter campaign to finish this documentary that was going to focus on NFL cheerleaders suing their teams around, like, you know, wage issues and
a variety
of issues. But, like, I think she was swayed by what happened with the Buffalo Jills at the time. You had the Oakland Raiders cheerleader that sued for unfair pay and, like, unpaid wages. And so she decided to pursue this and to explore this and film it as a documentary. And so she covers, like, a few NFL cheerleaders through their process of litigating against the teams. And so, luckily, I mean, not even luckily, through her hard work and sweat and tears, right, she gets the documentary done. And lately she has been on a tour, basically, of all these film festivals in different cities throughout the country. And we couldn't be more excited for her. I mean, she told us it's basically like a one-woman show, so I'm even more impressed.
It's just her.
But she's been doing, like, these film festivals like Tribeca, you know, LA, like Buffalo, New Orleans. She was just in Milwaukee. And so she screens her documentary. She also has, like, panel discussions around, like, gender discrimination, like pay equality, like different things. And I think it's phenomenal. Like, and we want her to come to Seattle so bad. And we're going to figure this shit out because she has to come. She has to come. We want to see this film too, obviously.
Oh, totally. She might send us a link, so we might be able to preview it a little bit. But yeah, they have an Instagram page, and
A Woman's Work is the name of the documentary. So yeah, we'll link it to this episode so that you guys can check it out. But I just think it's really, so the part that struck me too about our interview with Kristan in this episode, and you'll hear it in part 2 because I kind of went off, just forewarning you guys, on a freaking tangent. But, you know, when I think of what inspired us to start the podcast and thinking of these different women's journey and knowing what it takes to actually start litigation, it's not a joke. Like, you know, there's not just lawyers' fees and lawyer interaction, but you're actually doing sworn depositions. There's so many steps in the process. So this is not something that we can really take lightly, like, oh, she did it for the fame, or she just wanted to. No. Like, there's no spotlight that you really, it's not glorious, okay? The litigation process,
even imagine.
Especially when you're going against a team with their legal team and their law firms. NFL, like, it's not a joke. And so these women stuck their necks out trying to make it better for everybody. They've managed to win settlements to get women paid for basically unpaid labor, you know, and that's after like 2 years of being caught up in the court process. So, like, they have done so much. And the part that really broke my heart, I don't know to speak for you, but, like, they have somehow become like the black sheep of pro cheerleading. Like, they lost friendships, people don't talk to them anymore.
They can't make it onto any other teams.
Their dance careers are over.
It. Right,
their dance careers are done. Over. So, like, I personally, you know, with the podcast, just felt like, and hopefully, you know, we're not trying to be preachy. I'm trying to edit out my, like, rampage, but I just think that, you know, as a community, we have to come together to, like, support these women because they did stick their neck out. They did it because, not because they were looking forward to destroy the name and the reputation of their programs. They did it because they were really trying to make a difference and make it better. They knew what they were doing was illegal. Like, that's all. It was just illegal, you know? Like, that's it. It's not like, oh, I just feel like I'm being treated unfairly. No, you broke the law. And I just think that they were hoping to make it better for everybody, and the fact that they are, like, ostracized breaks my heart. That's why I couldn't, like, let the interview with Kristan go, because we left it and it was great, you know, 1 hour little episode, but it was just like, this is not how it's supposed to be. Like, and around mental and emotional health and well-being, it's just like, people need to understand that we are a community of people. Like, we all should be able to relate to one another on a level that nobody else will. Like, for people who are aspiring to be pro cheerleaders or people who have been pro cheerleaders, like, our world is something that, unless you're part of it, you won't know what any of it means. You won't understand any of it. And for the least we can do for people who have, like, experienced and walked our shoes and then tried to do something to like make it better, and the least we can do is support them. So hopefully this won't be controversial to people, but we did interview Kristan, and we were so thankful for her level of vulnerability and openness with us, because we didn't want to like just dive all in and like asking her a million questions, which is another reason why it was nice to come back to have the conversation a second time to say, okay, is it okay to kind of like probe a little deeper on things? So we're excited to share part 2 with you guys, and we just encourage you to this is meant to generate discussion, meant to build community, but like think about that. Like, I mean, not to just liken it to civil rights, but I just can't imagine like the civil rights figures that we like have on such a high pedestal that have made huge strides in making a difference in the civil rights movement, that they would have been like, and I know that there was some of that obviously at the time, but just for them to be outcasts and like, not just like left on no man's island while they're doing it is really, really heartbreaking. You wouldn't even imagine.
It wouldn't have made a change without the support. Yeah, that's the whole thing.
That
like,
is exactly
the more the people support and agree and just uplift these people who have such a strong message and are trying to make it better for everybody in that community. If they didn't have that, there would have been no change.
No movement. There would have been no movement. And I have to keep checking myself of like, yo, we're obviously retired. I'm older. My birthday's in a week. And I'm like thinking back to my 20-year-old self and thinking like, how would I have handled this situation, or this and this and that. But I just think on a personal level, in terms of integrity and trying to like live my truth, but also just kind of standing up for what's right and what's wrong. Like, even if it means that I'm sacrificing what seems like the only opportunity on God's green earth that I can ever do anything. But I would want to feel like, you know what? I did what I felt was right, and I'm good with it. Mm-hmm. And that's how I try to live my life. And I'm not trying to sound preachy. And I know I was on a tangent, so I'm like, let me go back and look at that, listen to that, and make sure that I'm not sounding like, because it's not about that. I just wish that it really broke my heart listening to Kristan's first interview to hear that of how alone she was. Mm-hmm. And it was like, dang, why didn't we reach out sooner? Like, why didn't we? But we were just so young starting off that we didn't really know, that it would have been. I think
that's a key word, and maybe I'm quoting her wrong, but she does mention in her interview how the teams do pick the girls young, and we can't confirm that this is the reason, but exactly. It's kind of like, open your mind if you're on a team or thinking about being on a team, like, even though you're young, and I mean, I just feel like just stay woke. Right? Try to stay woke and just like realize that, I don't know, even though you're young, like, you can contribute and make change. Like, Kristan is an example of that. I think she's so more mature and like, I don't know how to explain it, but she just, help me.
No,
I think I'm ruining it.
What was
too much vodka?
No.
Do you know what I mean? It's just like, if I would have known that when I made the team, I think I would have had a way different experience those 6 seasons I was on the team.
For sure.
And it would have been more amazing. Not hindered it.
Because so that's the thing. Yeah. Like, about this episode, not to bring it back to the whole emotional and mental health aspects of it, but I think what we're hoping is that we can just share just what would have actually, like, if we had our mind right about what we were entering into. You have no way of knowing as a rookie. You don't know what the hell you have signed up for.
You'll say yes to anything just because you're a rookie and you want to be involved and you want to please.
You want the approval of your director. You want
to make it on the show group. You want to travel. You want to like impress the rookies.
I mean, the vets.
Like,
you're you want to like you do
everything.
Vets, you do everything
with no question and nothing. You don't question anything. They say jump and you literally say how high.
How high, and do I need to jump over a mountain? Like, what you need me to do? I'm game for it. And I was telling Kristan in the part 2, it's just like, for me, you guys, I mean, you see me now with my mouth and like my whole attitude, but when I was in my 20s, I was actually worse. Like, you couldn't tell me shit. Like, it wasn't even a chip on my shoulder. I just knew who I was, you couldn't treat me any different.
You're very unique as it is, but that's rare. Okay, like I'm almost 30 and I still don't know what the hell I'm doing. Like I barely brush my hair on a daily, like I don't even know how to figure my life out. So when I'm interviewing these people and they're like, 5 years, it's not that big of a difference, but it is. Yeah. Like doing this podcast with you, I've learned so much more. That's what I'm saying. Like I wish I could go back in time and do all of my experiences again, because it would have been so much more different.
But
anyways,
it's true. But like I in talking to her, I was kind of like, I'm almost scared, because in my 20s, if I had done something like Seagulls or just I would have been like, oh hell no, like what are we doing here? Like I would have been probably even more out of pocket. And I only say that to say that as you get older, you realize what battles are worth fighting and like how to navigate through certain difficult situations. But I know I had my coming to, like, not coming to Jesus, but coming to something moment where I had to like check myself, like, look, Makiba Pate, you have not like nutted up and shrank for anybody ever. Like you have been around CEOs, you have been around far more important people than what's going on with this particular organization. Why are you tripping? Like, why are you acting like you don't have a brain? You can't think for yourself. You can't.
When you made Seagulls, you felt like that?
Oh, hell yeah.
Why?
Huh? Why?
Yeah, tell me why. Come on.
I mean, so
I made the team at 21.
Yeah, and I made it at like 31 or 30. I don't even remember what age was that.
Something. It doesn't matter, but
something like that.
It's just interesting that it basically made you shift who you've always been. Yeah. And I wonder, like, why? Is it because it was the NFL, or like you really wanted it?
Well, it's such a unique experience. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still.
Hi. Red light district. Hey.
Aisha Francis. Hey.
This is the weirdest episode, but I kind of like it.
Do we like it? Let's just do it.
I do. This isn't going to be part of what they hear tomorrow.
We'll edit that out.
Yeah.
This is our spot. We got red lights and all that. So if you come through to the party, guess what? It might turn red. Anyway, what the point is, so for me, it was more like, this is still an employer. I still viewed it as a job. And so I knew that in any other job, some of the things that were going down would not have been acceptable. Yeah. So I was still trying to process that and kind of like, why am I treating this any differently than I would any other role? And so that's kind of where it all started. And then I was just trying to think, like, the way that I was, based on everybody else's reaction to interacting with our director, I was kind of like, okay, I get that she needs to be respected and revered, but it was like, it's not that serious. And I had to kind of like, when have you ever acted this way? Like, I had to talk to myself, like, Kiba, when have you ever acted like you can't speak up or ask a question, and always being respectful, of course, but kind of like, why is this?
Why are you being silenced?
Yeah.
Why did you feel like you needed to be quiet?
I had a brain when I walked in
quiet,
here. Okay? No, I'm not. I had a brain when I walked in here, and it didn't just like jump out of my head because I'm now part of the NFL or a team or whatever. And so I struggled with that my rookie year. And truth be told, hey, I didn't make it my second year. I auditioned and I did not make it. I don't think it was like a Kawinka-dink. Like, I probably talked and questioned my way off of that team. But at the end of the day, certain things didn't sit well with me of being right. And I questioned it. And I wasn't like trying to question authority, but I was just kind of like, excuse me. So I just think that at the end of the day, what I was trying to get at was just that, I think that it's finding your space. I mean, I was older, so for me, I was a lot more maybe secure in who I was as a person and how I viewed my involvement with Seagull. I was like, this is just the extra on top. So like, I have a career, I have a sense of self, I know what my worth is, and so this is just supposed to just be fun, and you know what I mean? And if it's not fun, or if it turns into be like a unfair or toxic environment, I'm gonna question things. And I just think, to your point, if we knew or had the support system, and that was something that Kristan mentioned, like wishing that the podcast would have been around for her the year that she went through all that struggle, because then she would have probably at least had somebody that she could talk to. And that's something that we wanted to say. And of course, we don't have our phones handy, but we do have a hotline, you guys.
It's on our Instagram. There's a button to contact us, and
yes,
there is a phone number, and we get all the text messages or voicemails that you leave. There's actually a really cheesy, if you just want to listen to the cheesy voicemail that I recorded in my car, like I think I do all my work in my car. Listen to it. Don't leave a message. Breathe heavily into the phone. Whatever you like.
We love that. I'm just kidding.
At the red light. But yeah, just like leave us a message. We've had a few people reach out on it, and literally just like venting.
Because I think that's what we covered under like the part 2 is just that we at least can relate to one another of what we experience, like how some things may not seem like a big deal, especially when you're talking to your friends and family who don't do this. They're probably like, just quit. If you don't like it,
My sister told me that.
She told you to quit?
When she, like, I think I, turned down maybe some festivities, like, it was Christmas, and I said, oh, I can't eat that. And then my sister was like, I don't know how you do that. Like, I don't do well with authority. Maybe that's a personal thing. Yeah. But, like, I don't know how you're on this team that's so, like, restricted. But I really wanted it, and, for other reasons. But it's so true. Like, people don't get it. People really don't get it.
On the outside,
that's what I'm saying. Even my sister, who I'm super close with, they don't get why you're fighting for your spot or to stay on it or what have you.
And
they just don't get it.
Yeah, and fighting through difficult situations.
But we do.
But we do get it, and we're not like licensed therapists, but we really, really, really wanted to do this episode just to say that you're not alone, and that we want to, the best that we can, just be a sounding board, a sense of support, maybe helping you navigate through situations. Like, we don't get every squad dynamic, but we get the certain politics apply, right? But I think we can kind of like speak to maybe just a way that you can handle a certain situation that might not get you in more shit, in more trouble, or paint you in a certain light. But we just want to help be there for people who, because we haven't experienced personally anxiety, depression maybe with something outside of like cheerleading, but I can relate to a whole effing lot, put it that way, or I can definitely empathize and put myself in your shoes. And so I just want to welcome anybody to reach out to us, whether it's DMs, voicemail,
email us.
Like, we are here for you, because I just think at the end of the day, you deserve that support system. We are a community, and one thing that came out of homegirl, I say homegirl a lot, home chick sometimes, but one thing that came out of Kristan's interview was just, she said, I am her. And that really like stuck with me, because if we look at it that way, like, what if that happened to me? It's just that empathy where you're just like, yo, if I actually went through the shit that she went through beyond a lawsuit, like,
yeah, and she didn't expect any of her teammates to like quit or whatever. It was, she just wanted basically another teammate to be like, I feel you, girl, I support you. Like, she literally had people unfollowing her and blocking her that she considered friends on the team. So like, that's not okay. Like, doesn't matter who it is, like, you just don't treat people like that.
No.
You know what I mean? And like, it's like the world of trolls and the internet, and there's crazy people on it, you know, but for somebody that and like see on a weekly, daily basis,
who saw what you actually experienced like firsthand,
right,
and then it won't stand for you, it's like,
I don't know if you included it, but like actual physical abuse, like they witnessed it and then still decided to block her. Like, you might have well just hit her across the face as well. Like, that was just so inappropriate, and like, I just don't understand why someone would think that's okay.
No. And what we're trying to say, hopefully we're not, I don't really, you guys know me by now. I don't know. But I just think that we can do better as a community of dancers, professionals even. Like, this is not a sorority. You know what I'm saying? This is not like we just get to like treat people who we want to bring into our organization, or like, you know what I mean? And like exclude people who you don't think belongs. This is like
Mean Girls. We did a Mean Girl episode.
We already did it.
That's exactly what's happening.
And it's not cool especially for the women who had the balls to stand up for what was not right, and actually, just from a legal perspective, not even like, oh, I don't think this is cute or fair. Like, no, from a legal perspective, you're actually engaged in illegal employment practices, or, literally, like, you're not paying people what they're deserved. Like, it's just on that basis alone, it's fair game. And for these women to kind of be left on the outside is just something that I found extremely unacceptable. And I just want us to kind of like step up to the plate And, you know, even for people who may have, like, been involved in, like, not supporting, it's never too late. You know what I'm saying? You can reach out to people and say, I felt caught up in the moment. I was more worried about, you know, like, my spot on the squad or not having opportunities, and therefore, you know, that's what I sacrifice for whatever reason. At least just kind of, it's just called integrity. You know
reevaluate your reaction to things. And,
because it's fair.
You know,
like,
no regrets, okay?
But, you know, it makes me think of the Mean Girl episode where you actually, like, I was surprised when we were recording, and you, like, mentioned just that a moment where you thought that you could have done something to stand up for someone that was kind of the target of, you know, attacks on your squad.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Like, that elbowing walls and shit. But, like, that says a lot about just, I'm at a place where I can accept what role I might have played or what I could have done differently. You know what I'm saying? And that's maturity. That's growing through it. Yeah. But it's growing through something that, like, you know, we don't have all the answers, and we're not going to be perfect. And I don't mean to sound like I'm on some, like, pedestal, like, preachy, you ain't right. But I will call a spade like a spade. And I just felt like, at the end of the day, you just want to be on the right side of doing people right, because the stuff that's gone down one way or the other, like, we know, you know, there's the truth. There's the one side of the story that we got from Kristan. There's the other side of the story that could have come from anybody from the Dolphins organization. And, you know, we're here. If people want to, like, share their side, so be it. But at the end of the day, there's still just kind of, like, right and wrong. And I think I'm glad that at least we were a platform to be able to share one side of the story and hopefully encourage people who may have gone through similar situations. I mean, I feel like her situation was hella egregious. It was like to the nines, effing unacceptable.
Yeah,
I can't think of anything.
Need to listen to it.
I can't think of anything more like effing inappropriate, unacceptable, just like hell to the nah than this particular instance. Like, you know, we saw the other headlines, and, you know, getting duct taped and shit was out of control with the Texans, but there's certain things where you're like, okay, that's terrible.
Oh boy. Sorry.
But I just think that, you know, this one really struck a nerve with me. And, you know, I just think that we can do better. And I would encourage us all to just, it's like a self-check. Like, do you look at yourself in the mirror and be like, you know what?
I gained weight? Yeah.
Oh. Well, speaking of mental and emotional, because that was the one thing that we were going to try to address, because we're not, like, professionals on any level whatsoever, but let's just talk about it, because I'm wearing like a drape.
We're like 40 minutes in, girl.
Are we
still
really?
here? Wave if you're still here.
Oh my God, talk to us. Are we just...
My phone's probably going to die, to be honest.
Really? Oh shit, we should just wrap it up. But I was going to say that one of the things that people did ask us to talk about was, and I encourage you guys to go back and listen to the Let's Get Physical episode, because we do talk about it a lot. Like, the lasting impacts of doing something like pro cheerleading really do surround your body.
Mm-hmm.
So go back and listen to that episode, because we're not going to recount it here, but I'm trying to appreciate all my extra curves and wrinkles.
You don't even have any.
They're here.
But I guess it just makes you, like, look at yourself differently, and you have high expectations for yourself.
Yeah.
Or, like, you were photographed, you know, 6 years ago looking a certain way, and now it's hard to look at photographs of yourself now. Like, it's hard. You know what I mean?
It's an ongoing struggle.
It is. But you know what? Love yourself. Love each other.
Yes.
Love on us. Like, you know, send us some stuff. Like, send us some questions for our cheerversary. Like, wow, that's way off topic. But
bring it home, because I've been on a mother freaking tangent.
It's okay. It's okay. But there's some people here.
Still here.
We love you all. Thanks for joining us.
But back, I mean, okay, now I'm like, backtracking. I'm not. I'm really just saying that, like, this really, because, I mean, it came out in this part 2. This is all about a relationship with yourself. Mm-hmm. Like, what you tell yourself, the conversations you have with yourself when you actually are going through the fire. Like, it made me think about, like, when I was experiencing a bunch of bullshit on my job at the Gates Foundation. And, you know, how you have to kind of, like, wait, am I crazy? Or is this just, you know, somebody else tripping on me? And then really figuring out when it's time to, like, stick it in and fight, and when it's time to walk away. You know what I'm saying? And those conversations, you guys, that you have with yourself, is your way of showing love for yourself and respecting who you are, respecting what you stand for, and being willing to take a stand. And I would just encourage everybody to, whether you're having that conversation one-on-one, or if you kind of like have those conversations with people who you trust, that knew you before you were a pro cheerleader, like, don't lose sight of those friendships, because they do mean a lot, you know, to keep you honest and hold you accountable, to keep you true to yourself. Like, that makes a big fat ass difference, I think, in how you view this whole experience, because you can get blown up into your own world of like what this world will bring you, the light, the fame, the and you can forget like what's
she's cut off.
Really
no
real.
More vodka, okay?
But you can forget what's real. And I just want to encourage people, like, we're here, your people who knew you before you were on a team were here, and at the end of the day, like, just support one another, because nobody deserves, like, this experience, back to your point earlier, is amazing. Like, there's some, even with my shit that I may have gone through, I loved every minute of.
I know, I would actually, like, Groundhog Day, redo those 6 years for eternity.
Yeah.
Like, I had the most fun being a seagull. Like,
It's
truly.
true.
I got to travel the world. I met you.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah. Oh, but no, it's true. Like, it's like there are moments of this like experience that